with Greg Franco, band leader of Rough Church. Tell me about the formation of Rough Church and why you selected this name for your band.
The band Ferdinand that we had 10 years of that. I was interested in going to New Zealand. I made a solo record there, and I just felt like playing with other people. So I met this guy, Jeff Hogan, who came down to the club with Steve Ferdinand, and he was all keen to jam as a bass player. I had this friend from work, Tracy Hill, who's still with Rough Church. We both were huge music fans. And he said, yeah, I play drums in this band Cyrano. And I said, yeah, let's just play to play. And it was fun. And my cousin John joined us a little bit. And then we found this guy, Five Track. He was Five Track. Fun guy. And so it was like a trippy little thing that we were doing. It was just fun and it wasn't serious. Then we made a record. We started calling ourselves Rough Church.
Why?
I just kind of thought the name was open enough. And they have, I remember when Steve Wynn from the Dream Syndicate came up with that name, it was two things that didn't go together. Dream Syndicate, that Rough Church, I don't know. It was kind of that thing. And then it sort of seemed to make sense in a metaphysical way to me.
You've recorded a series of albums and EPs, but you've just done a full recording in 2016 that should be out by the end of this year.
Right.
Tell me about it, the title.
Came up with the title Queen's Sacrifice because I was reading about chess, learning more about chess. And you can defeat an opponent in 7 moves if you lure them into this idea of they take your queen, and it lulls them into the idea that they're winning and then you beat them. I don't know what it means necessarily in regards to the record. I just thought it was a cool title. This was the one where we really came together with this new lineup. The rhythm section was switched out at some point between my cousin and this guy Jeff. And our producer friend Manny Nieto said, hey, get these 2 professional guys. It was Fredo Ortiz, who was in the Beastie Boys for a number of years, and Dante Pascuzzo, who played in Quetzal and was a writer, Grammy Award winner, and a teacher, a jazz bassist that was a really trained musician. And I really needed that kind of thing, and so we switched that out. And then we have this gal, Caitlin, playing violin. She went to Berklee School of Music. The band actually kind of moved into a different, kind of more professional band.
I think it is definitely a Rough Church signature that we do have musicians that can play their instruments really well. And when we get together, we sound tight, we sound good. Of course, when we first decided to switch over the rhythm section, I had to catch up to how good these new guys were.
Kerry Foss has played with Possum Dixon when I met him. He was a replacement for Matt Devine at the time. Matt's still a really good friend of mine. Kerry has a style, he could play these wild solos, and he never plays the same thing twice.
But we do live music. Like when we record in the studio together. We build the foundation together. So we get that energy that happens between musicians, and we don't edit, We're well rehearsed. We've done our pre-production. They say rolling, we hit it to tape. The point is that what you're getting isn't some manufactured thing, and you're hearing the organic moment. And if there's mistakes, we generally kind of live with them, And that's kind of what we'd like, hearing on records. Then when you go and play live, you're getting the same version of the song. You're not supposed to be surprised. Oh, these guys don't sound like I heard them on a record. It's like we sound like the record, and that's important to us.
We used 2 studios. We used a guy named Andrew Bush at Grandma's Warehouse in historic Filipino town. We've been working there for a while. And then we started using this guy, Manny Nieto, a place called Estudio. It's in Lincoln Heights. Manny's just this guy who brings a lot of interesting things to the table. He was in a band called Distortion Felix, and he was associated with Breeders and Kim Deal and people like that. And he had worked with Steve Albini-esque bands, he kind of studied under him. So his band sounded kind of heavy and like that sound.
I mean, there's nobody that sounds like Rough Church in Los Angeles. I know that for a fact.
Right.
Let alone the globe. Why do you make music? You're on year 30 of this.
Right. I mean, I've been a DJ. I've collected tons of music. There's no reason in a way to make music. There's so much of it out there. But basically, you make it for yourself. You make it because you want to have fun with people. and you want the experience of creating it. It's like cooking food or something, and everybody eats, you know.
When I was wanting to be in a band, I was probably playing just like brass instruments in the marching band. The mellophones, like a marching French horn. I played the sousaphone, the one that wraps around your whole body and you have to have a lot of air to push out. But I didn't play guitar, I didn't play rock and roll instruments. So I wanted to be in a rock band. My brother played guitar, so I grabbed him and I said, and I'll like start yelling or whatever. So I wasn't a skilled singer or anything. We brought in the other members and I was the organizer. I was the guy who organized the rehearsals, but I could barely sing and I basically would like talk or yell. And that's how I started in a rock band. And I would always record everything. I always had that role. I bought a mixing board, I had the mics, I had the PA. It was my room where everybody played in, surrounding myself with musicians, but not necessarily being a musician myself. That's how things get done in my world, you know. I organize stuff. And then at some point, you know, I wanted to actually write my own songs. I didn't want to rely on a guitar player or you know, so I started to just be more self-sufficient. So it took me a while because I'm left-handed, and they put a guitar in my hands and they said, you got to play this right-handed guitar. And that took 3 years of my life because it wasn't working out. And then at some point, you know, my girlfriend, now my wife, said, I'll buy you a left-handed guitar and see how that goes. Like a duck to water, I started playing left-handed guitar. I never looked back, and I've written like 200 songs. I took voice lessons and really worked on it, played 1,000 gigs, you know, and have been in bands, but not really seriously been a musician, I don't think, until I was 28. And that's now 20-some years.
Rough Church is performed up and down the West Coast, the Midwest, 4 lengthy tours of like New Zealand, Australia. You also did a day trotter radio session around the Chicago date.
Yeah.
But for many years now, every month or so, you actually organize and produce live music showcases in the Echo Park area at a legendary venue called Tex Restaurant, T-A-I-X. So tell me the concepts of that series that is still underground, word of mouth, but always packed.
I could say it was magnanimous of me to bring the community together and do all that stuff, but it really was selfish. I was really tired of having to deal with like 3 people who book all the venues in LA.
Yes.
I just saw an opportunity to book it, and then I could book my band there, and just it's a comfortable place to go.
Yes.
The valet parking is $2.50. I mean, that's amazing.
And who's played there with you that you've given opportunities or breaks to?
There's so many great bands. There's this band Nahin Kula that are really good. My buddy Gabriel Perlman always brings in his bands like Bicos and Brochure and Tubby Boots, and then I bring in the old school guys that don't really want to be bothered with calling the same 3 people to play these places. So there's always that thread of like the people that have been around and been for real for a long time. Mm-hmm. It turns out to be just a great night, you know, bring your friends. And a consistent thing to where you don't have to worry about when am I going to play next.
I know you're based in the Mount Washington area of Los Angeles.
The house is up on top of the hill. It's been a blessing because it's a little cul-de-sac and band members can park, you know, really easy and walk their stuff right through the garage, and we play in the garage. And
you can see broken down, crazed Cholo wagons next to brand new Lexus. The duality, it's not lost on you, is it?
It's the tension that makes it interesting when you're close to the city. I like being near my town. And you know, my wife works at downtown, and so we like being close to Tex and Dodger Stadium. That was one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to live there. If the wind is going the right way and Aegon hits a home run or something, you can hear the sound of the crowd, you know, at your house. And you see the lights and the whole vibe of that part of the world. It's, you know, where I wanted to be. I moved there in 2005, so.
Haven't you commissioned or done some videos?
I give them a song, and I started.
Tell me about the video deal.
Yeah.
The directors you work with.
Steve Hamp is one that I work with consistently.
Right.
Because I just love what he did with Beck's stuff.
He did the Loser video years ago.
The Loser is probably the best video I've ever seen. He's a real LA guy. he's very well skilled, and he's a hard worker. He did this animated video we have for a new album, a song called Speak as One.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he just worked his butt off.
Better when we speak as one. People where the power comes from. It's better when we speak as one. Speak as one. Speak as one. We're all chess pieces now.
He's one guy, and then another one I work with is this guy Chris Carlone, who's just a lunatic, a really sweetheart.
What's he done for you?
He's done like Costume Disappointment.
We bring these words to life. True shaded into what's what we like. But today, here with my hand, help me out of my costume disappointment.
He did this one called 5 a.m. that was filmed in Portugal. Like he travels and he's like, I'll do a video for you while I'm in Portugal. And he got a girl who's a dancer and did this beautiful stuff and lyrical. I write the songs, I do all the recording, that's enough work. I want to just hand it off to somebody and see what they can come up with. And you have to really pick the right people and then trust them, because if you try to control everything, it just comes off like bad, you know? I don't tell people what to play, I give them the song and I trust them. You hire the right guys.
Shadows fly.
KPFK and the DJ Mark Torres there, for many years, has been a big supporter of Rough Church.
Yeah.
I first heard about you on KPFK. You've had some real supporters at that place, or that
Yes.
station. Has that station had a big impact on you, the whole Pacifica mentality?
Yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
I like the music programs, and I'm down with the politics mostly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to get down on KPFK because it's the best station in LA.
And tell me about Mark Torres, because you've done live broadcasts on his shift. Mark
I
Torres.
like Mark, but also Barry Small.
Pyramids rise from the sea. They're amazing.
I mean, your music is cinematic.
Yeah.
Do you want to see the songs get into TV and film? Is that a goal? If it happens, it happens. I mean, you actually are aligned with somebody who's doing that for you.
I'm trying to think of ways, you know, like everybody, because I want to keep recording and being able to pay for flights and go places and play places, even if we shouldn't, you know, even if it's not that feasible. I'll pay for myself. But it would be nice if there was a song in a film or something that would help us take care of those expenses. But yeah, I mean, that would be nice. But, you know, that's not really the goal. The goal is if you can get it pieced together into a good scene and it makes people, it moves people, that could be really nice.
Okay, we have a new record coming out shortly. Well, let's just talk about right now. Who's your bass player?
Jose Esquivel. He's been a guy on the scene, played in tons of bands for years. I met him through Fredo because our drummer was like, yeah, you know, you need a guy to back up Dante, because Dante is phenomenal, but he has a lot of responsibilities with a wife and 2 kids and stuff, and it's like, this guy's available to play a lot of shows. And
You are still tinkering with this journey of Rough Church.
absolutely.
Interviewing people who may play with you, record with you. I mean, is it legacy themed? Is it landmark oriented? I want to make an impression for history, because you are hitting age 50 where society tells you to chill out and stop already.
Right, I know.
Okay, well, they're full of shit. But the bottom line
Yeah.
is, what's the big picture as you look at what you're doing?
Having more relationships with people that turn into musical things, and always constantly exploring what could be next. I meet people like me, you know, who are doing the same thing I'm doing, and I want to connect with them. I love going places like Chicago and playing music, and always another city I can go to and check out, you know, whether it's Helsinki, Finland, or a place I've never been. We haven't played London yet. You know, we played New York. Like I said, we've done Australia, New Zealand. I love going to places and meeting new people. I think you're always alive when you have more information about what humanity is out there, what people are like, and how you can connect with people. In the long run, Rough Church is ever evolving, and it always has new people in it.
So I feel good that I'm getting challenged and have to up my game. You know, if you play with people that are just as good as you or not as good as you, what does that do? You have to play with people who are better than you. And I think with Rough Church, that's what I'm doing. That's why I like traveling, to go out of your little circle, you know, and see the world and see that there's things out there that'll blow your mind. So it's important.